What is going on, everybody? I hope you're doing well. Doing okay myself. This video, I want to talk about Dune Awakening with the release of Chapter 3 and if this game has gotten harder. I believe it has, in a good way. But I've seen a lot of posts, a lot of comments, a lot of people saying that, holy crap, this is just insane. And yeah, it can be. You look into the footage here where I was doing these missions on the the Broodworks, and this guy here, he's actually kind of special. He doesn't actually have a sword. He does, but he doesn't. If you notice, there's nothing in his hand, and I'm not able to deflect or parry or do anything with it. And that's not what I'm necessarily talking about, glitches, things like that, or like a strange bug, but the overall difficulty of the game, specifically with these dungeons. Yes, the game has gotten harder, and it should have. It needs to be a little more challenging. It needs to be able to grow with us. I don't know, if you're like me, and I know I am, I got really kind of lazy about the things I was doing. Hagga Basin was nowhere near any kind of a challenge, and I would just, casually go through and do my thing. And even the deep desert, even the deep desert testing stations weren't all that difficult once you kind of got used to what you were supposed to be doing. But what I've experienced here so far in Chapter 3 is much smarter enemies, a lot more enemies, and they are far more capable in what they do. The only issue I used to ever have was a mob of bad guys. It's like specifically you get cornered by a couple melee guys, or you're getting ganged up on by the chain gunners, or even the flamethrower guy. But you'll see here in this footage, these dudes are on me, and when I get an opening, I can't capitalize on it, and I have to pull back and retreat. So it's a little stressful, it's a little angering, and I could see why so many people are complaining about it, and bringing up the fact that, hey, this seems to be a little too much. The first step to getting through this and understanding where the game is now and how to survive it, it really starts on some self-reflection. Like I was just saying, I got lazy, I got complacent, I got used to the way things were. And once they made some updates and some changes, I approached it the same way I approached everything else, which, as you can see in this footage, I'm moving from area to area. I'm activating many different enemies, and here I am just facing way too much stuff, and that's basic. That's basic. We know that. But with stronger enemies and my wrong attitude, that was just a recipe for disaster. So the first thing you want to do is let's start doing some self-reflection and say, am I really playing this smart? Am I really doing the smart thing? And start from there. Let me give you a personal example of what I'm talking about. I've always used the rapier. It's just a personal preference. I wish there was a cool reason other than I just like the way it looked, but that's, I guess, cool enough of a reason. But with Chapter 3, they reworked how a rapier functions. And at first, I was just getting my butt handed to me. I couldn't parry, I couldn't block anything. I was like, what is going on? And I had a choice. I could either learn and figure out how to use it and stay with it, or I could just drop it and go to like a dirk or a kinjal or even a sword. So what I ended up doing was I went and found a Masquerade friend here, pulled him out into the sands, and spent some time and just worked at it and got used to the new mechanics. And eventually, we're getting better at it. Would I say I'm an expert? Absolutely not, but we are getting better. And this is the point that I want to try to bring up. If they make a change, or if things aren't suddenly the way they used to be, you have the option of either giving up or learning how to operate in the world as it is now, all shiny and new. The issue that I see, and what I was kind of guilty of myself, is with the new content, I was looking way too far ahead into the future. Um, I'm thinking, I can't wait till I get a grade 5 upgrade, or an augment to put onto a weapon. And I want to get as many of these specialization points as I can so I can get all these great things. And what I wasn't realizing is there's a road that I have to travel. I can't just immediately start reaping endgame rewards. I'm not going to be able to bulldoze my way through this advanced content and higher difficulties just off of Regis equipment and a high spirit and the power of friendship. It's a process, and it's a cumulative process. So every level that you're getting in these specializations, like here you can see in combat, I've got a +4 damage and a +2% damage mitigation. The higher level I go in the combat specialization, the more damage I will do with each strike, and the less damage I'm going to take from the enemy. So you can see where that's going. It's not just, hey, I get a bunch of cool skill points and my health and my stamina go up. This is a cumulative effect, and I got to know my role. I have to see where am I at on this road and what can I handle. Because right now, I can do up to like I think a level 3 or level 4 solo and in a group. And I'll die a few times, but I can get through it. Um, Talking specifically about the testing station dungeons. Um, but can I do a level 10? Absolutely not. I'm just not equipped. And it's not just my gear that I mean when I say I'm not equipped. It's also these cumulative bonuses from specialization. Um, I look at the crafting section. I've seen some posts on Reddit and in comments in chat where people are talking about how they're burning through tier 6 gear. Can't believe it. Like, why am I getting my gear trashed? Well, I think there's a reason why leveling up crafting gives you bonuses to durability on the things you make. So, you see where that's going. It's the realization of where you're at on this journey versus where you think you want to go. Um, Hopefully that makes sense to you. It's a tough thing. It's a tough thing saying, hey, I can't just do what I've been doing and blow through this mission, this content. Um, and, self-evaluation can be tough. it's, uh, it's not a good feeling saying, hey, you know what, I'm not enough. Um, but you can be better. You can make yourself better. You just need time, and you need to put the effort into the things that are definitely going to make you better. When I was looking through these paths and all these different bonuses, there were a couple of them that I was like, what? Why are they focusing so much on like um, recycling and stuff? And you take a look at this here. This is where if you're recycling a unique item, you might get the blueprint back for it. And I was like, why do I care about that? I mean, if I'm recycling it, it's broken, whatever. But I guess it would be nice. Well, if you augment something, you can't change those augments. So we're going to get a unique piece of gear, and you put some low-level augmentations on it, and then eventually you're going to outrun the content's going to outrun that piece of equipment. And it's like, wow, I just spent all this time, effort, and resources on a unique item, and now it's garbage. But here you get a 15% chance that when you recycle that to destroy it, you could get the blueprint back. You could get some of the stuff back. Um, this is looking ahead, and I'll give them kudos on that. That's nice that they do that, but it's a long road. It's a long road we're all going to have to walk. What's driving me now as my progression is realizing that the old gear I was using ain't going to cut it anymore. I've switched to a static needle. Had several patterns for this. Could have used poison mist as well. Halleck's pick is another option, but I'm going to the unique weapons because they can accept augments. The Regis equipment, even though it's still really good, I can't augment this stuff, which means it's only as good as this is as good as it's ever going to get. But the unique items you can make better. I use the Chom Scout armor. That ain't going to cut it in these dungeons. I've taken a lot of damage and been down multiple times just because I'm not at the point where I can handle this higher echelon difficulty stuff with the gear that I was using prior to Chapter 3 dropping. It's just not going to cut it anymore. At first, when I would select these missions in the Landsraad, I was looking only at the recollection rewards, where I could pick up XP for crafting or XP for combat, etc., things like that. The house scripts, the faction standing were nice. The Landsraad contribution, XP Solaris, all that stuff was great. But my main focus was strictly on getting XP for one of the categories. But I'm going to be honest with you. You should probably, keep that in mind. Definitely keep that in mind. But if you're struggling and you're having problems and your gear's not up to par, you're going to want to kind of shift your focus to the actual Landsraad houses themselves. The way it used to work, if you didn't play before, but if you did, you'll remember, you used to have to go do tasks, kill a bunch of sandflies, donate equipment, etc., and you would get rewards from whichever house you were donating them to. The way it works now is when you select a mission, you're just going to say, I'm going to do this mission and I'm going to do it for this house. And that's what your house Landsraad contribution means. You're going to get 1,000 points towards that house. So what you want to do is you want to look through the different rewards that each one of those little houses is offering. And that's how you want to select the missions you want to do, because you want that reward. Well, let's just say you need that reward. That's how you're going to get upgraded gear. And that's where you're going to get a lot of your unique items. So that's kind of where I've shifted my focus. Instead of looking strictly at the specialization bonus, now taking more interest in what does that specific house give me for doing this mission for them. I have a box in this room here where I keep all my armor sets that I've made. And as you can see, I've got quite a few. I got a couple Syndicate outfits. I got the Acaronian, but they can't accept augments. But the Pincushion and the Forge set that I have both can. So these are the armor sets that I'm going to want to focus on right now, start augmenting them, and this is what I'll be able to use when I'm doing the dungeons. So what I have to do here is I'm looking for any house reward from the Landsraad that gives me a Pincushion set. Here you go, Pincushion pants. This is under the sabotage heading, and I got to go quite far to get it. Let's see if we can find something else. Acaronian doesn't work. Syndicate doesn't work. Doesn't work. There we go. Pincushion chest piece. Still got to go pretty far into it. That's under exploration. Let's see if there's anything else. But what you want to do is you want to look through all these different Landsraad rewards and find a Pincushion. Here you go. This is great. This is for gathering Pincushion helmet. Looks like they're all in the 10s. But this is the missions that you want to do. This is where you want to start putting your reward points into. If you're part of a clan or part of a group, and yes, you should always be a team player. And doing missions that, aren't going to benefit the team to win the Landsraad, yeah, but you know what? Sometimes you do have to think about yourself. So when you're choosing missions, even if it's not going to help the team totally, I'm not going to tell you to skip them. If you need a set of Pincushion armor in order to do things for yourself, go for it. You know what? The rest of the house can pick up the slack if they have to. But look through that, and instead of just doing missions to gain XP or a bonus on the specializations, also pay attention to the equipment. This is how you change the way you used to do things to the way you should be doing things so that you can do more things easier. It's the way, this is the horizon now, guys. But I'm going to end it here. Hopefully, this helps you out, kind of gives you a little bit of guidance, and points you in the right direction so that we can start, doing these harder level, higher difficulty activities and start really gathering in the higher rewards to make things a little easier. Once we start getting to this point, Hagga Basin's going to be a complete joke. They're going to have to deal with that, but we're not focused on Hagga Basin. We're focused on the new content. But anyway, I'm going to call it here, guys. As always, I will see you out there. Take care.